Yeah. So the good news is everything's out there right now for you to know exactly what to do.
I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to actually talk about blogging, the science of it, and the business behind it. The first question I would have, if a listener is listening to this right now and they're like, well, uh, you started 15 years ago and it took you 5 years before you started to see mild success, 10 years before before Greg quit his job and you were doing it
Yeah.
full time and making really good money at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I mean, Tony Robbins has a quote that it's like people grossly overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in
Yeah.
10. And I mean, I've been in business for 6 years. The first 2 years I struggled like crazy before I really gained any traction. And that, like, even then, like, it's been a battle uphill every day.
Yeah.
I'm mildly successful now. I can pay all the bills. I don't have to worry, but I'm not a millionaire, right?
We're not
Anyway,
cajillionaires laying on the beach somewhere.
well,
What's wrong with us?
I think you see all the social media out there and, you see, like, I mean, Gary Vee's pretty honest, but he's
Mhm.
also like, just put out 60 pieces of content a day and grind, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. Well, yeah, for 10 years. Plan on doing it for at least 5. But my
Yeah.
question, coming back to that rant aside, is if somebody were looking at this and they're like, well, you started 15 years ago. I mean, blogging was a different thing. Now you type something into Google, like all the good search terms are taken, or I don't know that I would ever gain any traction. What's a realistic expectation?
Yeah. So the good news is everything's out there right now for you to know exactly what to do. And so it can make your path so much shorter than mine. When I started blogging, there was no blogger instruction. You couldn't go to Google and say how to start a blog or how to install a button in your sidebar or how to do this. Nobody that 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 knowledge didn't exist yet. In fact, it was basically those of us behind the scenes when you go to somebody's blog and they're like, oh, they put an image that you can click on. What, like that person got 10 emails within 20 minutes saying, how did you do that? I hang out with nice people on the internet. So she would like send me this is what I did. And that's how we learned how to do these things. We would see it on someone else. And if they were nice enough to share how they did it, then we would do it. But there was no Googling or blog, how to start a blog or Blogger Education 101 or SEO or any of that stuff. That just didn't exist. So the good news is today that you don't have to invent this. It's also the bad part of it is we didn't know what it was supposed to look like. We just put out the stuff that we thought was good stuff, or we didn't even really care. We were just putting stuff out there. And there was no judgment of it because, there was no standard. And whereas today, I think that's something that people, I have to do it this way because no, you get to choose. Your blog is your real estate in the world. So no matter what anyone else is doing, you get to choose what to do on your blog. It doesn't have to look, in fact, I would say you're better off if it doesn't look like everybody else's stuff like that.